Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a rapidly shifting and incredibly controversial situation on the ground in Afghanistan. We're going to look closely at the massive surge in gold extraction happening right now. It's really a story of colliding forces. On one hand, you have this intense national drive for economic recovery. But on the other hand, it's clashing violently with very real localized environmental and human costs. To truly wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this change, we have to look at the historical state of the rivers in the northeastern province of Badakhshan. For generations, this was a place where villagers and their livestock thrived around these beautiful, deep, crystal clear waters. But today, it's a completely different reality. The rivers have essentially been churned into this thick, undrinkable mud. You can't drink it, you can't wash with it, and you certainly can't use it for basic agriculture. It's a very tangible look at exactly how aggressively industrial mining has permanently altered the local geography. Now, to understand why this landscape is being transformed so radically, we have to zoom out for a second and look at the macroeconomics. According to a recent World Bank report, Afghanistan's mining sector has seen a staggering estimated average annual growth rate of 25 to 30% since 2021. Hundreds of mining contracts have been signed. So the sheer volume of investment and extraction happening right now is just immense. From a high-level economic perspective, the engine of this industry is absolutely roaring to life. But what does a 25 to 30% sector growth actually translate to for the individuals living on the ground? Well, it translates to a very sharp, micro-level human cost. Take 74-year-old local farmer Muhammad Amin, for example. He used to comfortably manage a herd of up to 40 goats on his land. Today, he struggles to keep just 15 of them alive. That steep decline, that represents the immediate, devastating loss of livelihood that happens when heavy industry steamrolls right into traditional agricultural spaces. Section 1. Afghanistan in search of gold. Right now, in places like the Shewa area, which is just about 50 kilometers from the provincial capital of Faizabad, dozens of excavators are literally tearing through untouched mountains day and night. The scale is staggering. We are seeing thousands of laborers migrating to Badakhshan from all across the country. And we're not talking about guys panning for gold with pickaxes here. We are talking about heavy industrial machinery systematically ripping through the mountainsides for various domestic and international investors. Those old rudimentary methods of washing soil to find gold particles, they're totally overshadowed by massive mechanized earth-moving operations. Section 2. Endangered nature and environment. As you might guess, when you introduce heavy machinery and thousands of workers into a highly delicate ecosystem with zero strict environmental oversight, the consequences are incredibly swift. Mohammed Amin, the farmer we mentioned earlier, captures this perfectly. He says, "The grass on the riverbanks is completely gone, and due to the dust and wind, farming is no longer possible. It is heartbreaking. A once fertile valley has essentially been sterilized by excavator dust and polluted water. It's a harsh reminder of the fragile balance between local agriculture and industrial extraction." And the hardship absolutely doesn't end with the environment. There is a massive financial sting for the locals, too. Let's look at Mohammed Amin's situation again. He leased his land to a mining company for a promised sum of $20,000. The problem? He's only received half of that money. To make matters worse, the company completely ignored its contractual promise to restore the terrain back to its original state once the digging was done. So now the land is totally ruined, and the compensation has fallen way, way short. Section 3. Turning the economic wheel. Okay, so to really grasp this gold rush, we have to look at the current administration's strategy for generating state revenue. The Taliban government is heavily pushing the extraction of underground mineral wealth. If we look back before 2021, researchers like Fabrizio Foschini note that the mining sector was extracted very irregularly. The profits mostly lined the pockets of local strongmen, insurgent groups, and corrupt officials, rather than going to the state. Then, in 2021, the Taliban returned to power and started aggressively expanding the sector to capitalize on all that underground wealth. Fast forward to today, and the state is attempting to tightly regulate and formalize the whole industry, specifically to boost centralized national revenue. And this formalized expansion, it isn't just staying contained in Badakhshan. The Ministry of Mines and Petroleum is rapidly pushing operations across the northern regions. Take the neighboring Takhar province, for example. It's seeing a massive surge in gold extraction right now. Notably, an Afghan company is operating there as a joint venture with Chinese partners. The government's huge effort to formalize and scale this industry is successfully drawing in some very significant foreign partnerships. Section 4. The struggle of miners. We definitely need to zoom in on the desperate workers who are migrating across the entire country for these grueling jobs. Honestly, without understanding the laborers, you can't fully grasp the reality of this gold rush. One 21-year-old worker, standing right in the middle of deafening excavator noise, put it very simply, it's better than anything else. There are not many job opportunities in Kabul. That quote perfectly encapsulates the sheer economic desperation that's driving young men out of the capital city, pushing them out to these remote, highly hazardous mining sites just to survive. Let's actually break down the wages driving this migration. Mohammed Aga Khwaja Kyle has been loading trucks in these mines for 5 years. He makes about 10,000 Afghanis a month, which is roughly 150 US dollars. Then you have skilled labor, like 32-year-old Shafula Essas. He's a father of 5 who moved his excavator hundreds of kilometers from Jalalabad just to secure this work. He earns 25,000 Afghanis a month. For a lot of these families, these loud, dusty, and incredibly dangerous sites are literally the only viable source of income available in the country right now. Section 5, Regulation versus Rubble. So we have to contrast the central government's ambitious attempts to formalize this industry with the actual reality playing out on the ground. Let's look at the new regulations outlined by the head of the Badakhshan Mining Department. Right now, between 650 and 700 companies have registered. The current tax structure demands 20 grams of gold or its cash equivalent per hectare of land every single month. And what's absolutely crucial to note here is that this tax is applied whether the companies actually turn a profit or not. Through this super aggressive collection system, the government managed to collect 112 kilograms, that's about 247 pounds of gold, from Badakhshan alone last year. But here is the catch. The reality for the mining companies themselves is surprisingly grim. Take a look at the perspective of mine manager Mohammed Allah Mubaraz. He runs an operation with 100 workers and 20 excavators, and his team extracts between 200 and 300 grams of gold a week. Now, even with gold selling at roughly $118 a gram, the massive overhead costs, think initial investments, heavy equipment maintenance, and, of course, those strict government taxes, mean his company has actually been operating at a loss since April. And while these companies are bleeding money trying to find profitability, the environmental toll has literally reached a breaking point. It got so bad that the government itself had to step in against its own economic interests. Local officials actually admitted that unregulated mining last year caused such massive infrastructural collapse that they recently had to order the closure of over 225 mines, including several in the Shiwa area. The consequences on the ground are devastating. A local bridge, shops, and even a school were completely buried under floodwater, mud, and debris. Entire areas have just been turned into total rubble. The local sentiment surrounding all of this is probably best captured by a 45-year-old herdsman named Fazil. He brings his animals up to the mountains every summer. He says, the gold mining industry brings no benefit to the local population. It only benefits the powerful. Fazil just wishes the miners would stay out of the remaining untouched areas, wanting to preserve them for grazing and for the community. It really highlights the deep, lingering resentment felt by locals who are watching their ancestral lands get hollowed out for a boom they feel completely excluded from. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. We've looked at a massive 25 to 30% sector growth, thousands of desperate workers migrating just to find employment, and a government successfully extracting revenue. But at the same time, we've seen destroyed rivers, buried schools, and farmers totally losing their livelihoods. When you look at this incredibly complex web of economic desperation and environmental ruin, we really have to ask, who is the true beneficiary of Afghanistan's wealth? Thanks for joining me today. Keep asking the tough questions, and I hope this leaves you wanting to explore the intricate world of global resource economics even further.